Welcome to WildCard Garage, a channel all about 80s, 90s, and 2000 superbikes. I'm Stephen Clark and I'm a power sports photographer based in Idaho. I've been fortunate over the years for work and personal trips to ride all kinds of motorcycles all around the world. But some of my earliest memories of motorcycles are of going to races at Knockhill and Beveridge Park in Scotland and just watching ZXRs and CBRs and RGVs, GSXRs race around and just being absolutely in awe of these amazing machines. As time's gone on, my interest in these motorcycles has increased, and I've started buying bikes and researching them, starting to do some of my own builds. Through the process, I've been surprised to find that there's very little information or resources for this era of bikes and to help you build them. Since many of these bikes were built in a pre-internet era, it's somewhat hard to find information. So here we are, we're starting WildCard Garage, hopefully get more of these bikes built, provide resources and build a community about these motorcycles. So the hope is get more of these amazing bikes out of storage units that are rotting away and back on the road, and hopefully some of them on the grids of vintage road races. I'll be honest, I somewhat dislike YouTube and the modern content, so the aim is to stay away from this style as much as possible. I know that sounds ironic as I'm standing here talking to a camera on YouTube. What frustrates me is there's a lot of people that have a YouTube channel that now are a self-proclaimed expert in this field. I'd really like to stay away from that as much as possible. Inevitably, a lot of the episodes will have me in it and follow the style, but for the most part, what I'm trying to do is create a platform and a network and a flow of good information on these bikes. The aim is to have more of a magazine style approach where obviously the editor has a voice, but typically I would like to draw on experts in the field and bring in their information or tell their story. Without question, the 90s were the glory days of superbikes. Some people will say it was the rapid advancements in technologies that made it special, where bikes went from carburetors to fuel injection, from steel frames to aluminum to perimeter frames. Others will say it was because we had amazing riders like Schwantz, Fogarty, Russell, etc. But I think what really makes these bikes special to me, and probably many others, is they were the bikes that we wanted so bad when we were kids. And it's the harkening back to those days that makes these bikes so special. So we'll be starting with some of our own builds. I've got a few GSXR Slingshots, one of them here at 92. I also have this rad Wayne Rainey replica GPZ 750. So I'll be showing some content about these bikes and sharing some of the learnings, but this isn't a channel about bike builds and Stephen knows everything about building bikes. This is more, I'm a super enthusiast and I'm going to learn as I go, and any of the learnings I get, I hope to share them through this channel. In addition to this, we'll be traveling. We're going to go find some really cool collections, talk to the owners, maybe ride some cool bikes, and then searching out technical information from some of the top people in the industry. One thing I've found with the GSXR build is that there are actually quite a lot of people around the world making great parts for these bikes. However, those businesses are really small and they can be somewhat hard to find. They're typically guys that are like specialists like Jason at Fiberman that just makes fiberglass for GSXRs. So the intent would be to help people connect with these amazing suppliers around the world and just make it easier for people to build these amazing motorcycles. Before I go any further, I'd like to give a big shout out to some of the people that have helped me get this far. My brother Raymond is the person that got me into these motorcycles as a kid. He used to take me to the races, him and my brother John. I used to steal his magazines, and thankfully he lets me borrow his magazines now. But he's been a huge help with these bikes. He's helped a ton with polishing parts and doing fabrication work, welding, etc. So big thanks to Raymond. I also like to thank the guys at Boondocker Performance. They're a snowmobile and UTV performance shop in Idaho Falls. They've been super supportive and helpful on different parts of the bike. So really thank those guys. And then Marshall is my buddy in Idaho Falls who over the years has amassed a huge collection of stuff. His wife would call it junk, but I love it. So he's been selling me parts and fellow enthusiasts, so big shout out to Marshall. Another guy that's been very helpful is Rodney Mankey with Classic Superbike Tours. Rodney has built a whole collection of really cool motorcycles. He's a fantastic builder, built some really cool replica bikes of this era. And he's also just been super helpful and supportive. He runs a business where he allows people to rent bikes from him to ride them in the US. So definitely check out Classic Superbike Tours. And then other inspiration, big thanks to the guys at Iconic Motorbikes. They have an amazing website where they sell bikes and sell parts, and they've become the biggest creator of content for these motorcycles. So really cool to see what those guys are doing. And then one of my personal favorite YouTube channels would be Aaron Colton. He's a Red Bull stunt rider, builds some amazing bikes in his home garage. He's a huge inspiration and really shows what can be done on a bike build in a small garage. So check out Aaron's channel. I'd also love to hear from viewers on what channels you guys find helpful on bikes in this space. These are some of my favorites, but I'm sure there's more, and that's one of the big pushes for this channel, is just to create a network where we can all come together, share information, and ultimately just make life a little bit easier to build these bikes. So over the next few months, I'm sure we're gonna be buying more bikes. We're gonna be finishing these bikes. We're gonna be going on some trips. We're gonna be going to some races. So I'm super pumped. This is gonna be so much fun. I have no idea where this is all gonna go. I'm basically just a super enthusiast on these bikes and would just like to create a community of information and inspiration. And as I said earlier, hopefully just get more people building these bikes, get them back on the road and preserving them for generations to come. This is the part where I have to be a YouTuber, and as much as I hate it, if you do like what we're doing and like this style of content, please hit the subscribe button or drop us a comment and say what you'd like to see on the channel in the future. Super pumped on this. It's going to be a ton of fun, and thanks for watching WildCard Garage.